Aloha kako, aloha everyone. Welcome to another edition of Nerd Fights. I am Alan, the spaceman, Dr. Spachemin, whatever you like to call me, Shepard. We're here to see a couple of nerds battle it out over some very, very, very geeky content today. And I've got a couple of guest judges with me. Right over on the other side of the guy on that side, that would be Mr. Diaz. Mr. Diaz, how you doing today? You ready to judge?
Yeah, hoping today would be just as fun as the past couple of times I've done. Maybe my brain will break this time.
All right, we don't want any broken brains today. And then right underneath me, we got the JB3. JB3, you're back to judge. How are you feeling?
Feeling great, everyone. How y'all doing? You doing good?
Oh, we're doing good. We're ready to battle. We've got our competitors. We've got Ryan, used to be my teammate. We were on top of the world. Then he had to go off, do his own thing, and say, you know what? I got to go battle in this nerd fight, see how I fare over here. And I gave him my blessing to say, okay, let's see how you do. Ryan, you're here. How you feeling today?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for having me. This should be a good match, and let's just have a little bit of fun while doing it. Let's do this thing.
All right. And then Joe Farrelly. Joe, the man, the myth, the legend, the Superman 10 behind him. How are you feeling today?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I couldn't not get involved in nerd fights. I just won my debut movie Battleground on the late TV fights champ. I needed to get involved in something else. I don't know, not very good at arguing sports, not very up on my wrestling, so this is the only other place I could go.
My sentiment exactly. Yes, he's got the gift of gab. He's a fierce competitor, the late night fights champion, TV champion, and we're gonna see how he does in his debut in the Nerd Fights. 2 debuts here with Ryan and Joe, so this will be an exciting battle because they're both hungry for this, hungry for it, for that geek cred. All right, so we're gonna jump right into this. Of course, we've got 4 questions. And we've got the 3 rounds with each. First round, you've got your 90-second opening. Then you got a 5-minute battle where you battle it out. In that 5 minutes, if you guys start getting too heated, too talking over each other, I do have the power to give you a timeout, put you both in your rooms, in your corners, make you think about what you've done. And then when you calm down, we'll bring you back together, finish out that 5 minutes. All right.
So I stopped watching my phone. So
excellent.
Our friendly neighborhood smartphones. You cannot live without them, folks.
That's right. Can't go wrong with it. So he'll give us the 1 minute, and then he'll give us the 5-second countdown. And then when he says time, y'all got to be quiet. Mm-hmm. Adhere to the time. All right. Then you got your 60-second closing. You're gonna wrap that argument up and then plead your case that way. And then we will do the judging rounds. Okay, just remember, gentlemen, you do have your 1-minute extension for your opening or your closing. Should you need it, just let me know when you're going to use that before you start it. And that should be about all the rules. I'm sure I'll think of something later on. Oh, if you don't use all your time in your 90 seconds or your 60 seconds and you want to concede the rest of your time, just say, I concede the rest of my time, so we're not all staring at nobody talking for a long period of time. Right, and I'm going to slow this down a little bit just so that JB3 can get into his house because he looks like he just got home.
Yeah, someone's been running errands the last 20 minutes.
That's right. Somebody's been running around, going out there, braving the world, braving the viruses, or all the protesters, or both. Who knows? Too soon. All right. Now, looks like he's almost ready there. There it is. Okay, so we're gonna start with our rounds here, and we've got our first comes from the world of DC. Okay, so you're gonna start us off here today, brother, which is a question that is very near and dear to my heart, because my absolute favorite character is Green Lantern, and my favorite saga in the Green Lantern saga is the rings, the many different power rings, that saga. So the first question in the realm of DC is, which Lantern power ring is the best, and why would you choose it? So which color power ring is the best, and why would you choose it? And Ryan, your 90 seconds starts when you start.
All right, so when it comes to having the power rings and all that kind of jazz, you want something that's going to not just get you through the day, you want something that's going to get you through the millennium, right? Your entire time serving as a hero or whatever side you're fighting on. So I'm going with the OG. I'm going to go with the green power ring for this one because pretty much the power of this ring, it's unlimited. It has multiple options. It has more options than a universal remote in the year of 2020 does. And there's a lot of damage you can do with it. There's a lot of things you can do to save the universe with it. And I think you can do it better with this green power ring than you can do with other power rings that are on the colors of the so-called Green Lantern rainbow or the Fruity Pebbles rainbow, however you want to slice it and dice it. And for that, I'll get into more reasons during the main portion of the argument. But for now, I'm going to concede the rest of my time.
All right, so he's conceding and keeping his green power ring. All right, Mr. Farrelly, your time begins when you do, sir. Who do you choose?
You know, we're living in dark times right now, and there's not a lot of hope at the moment. I still have a lot of hope, and if there was some way I could use that hope to do good, well, thankfully there is a ring out there that can let me use my hope for the greater good, and that's the Blue Lantern ring. The Blue Lantern ring runs on hope. There's a lot it can do, to help with. It has the same unlimited power as the Green Lantern ring. It can also be used for healing and also allow us better understanding, which I think in these dark times is something that's needed. That's why I've chosen the Blue Lantern ring. It is the best, and it's the one I would like to use, especially right now. And I'll concede my time.
All right, so being very topical and wanting to spread that hope with the blue power ring. All right, this should be interesting. Gentlemen, 5 minutes, battle it out, green versus blue. Let us know what you got.
You see, where the Green Lantern ring is powered by willpower, like I said, the blue ring runs on hope. It can do everything the Green Lantern ring can do and more. It can replay events that have already happened, which in a time of lies and manipulated facts, it's one thing we could all use for the greater good. It has the power to heal injuries and can act as a universal translator and recharge the other rings, which in a time of darkness, confusion, illness, and fear, nothing could be more useful than the power of hope, the power of healing, and the power of understanding.
Well, that's all well and good, but when it comes to really, really unlimited power, the one that's been called the most powerful weapon within the universe, they always refer to the green power ring. That thing has unlimited power. It can do a billion different things. It can help people. It can save people. It can protect not just Green Lantern, but protect an entire population of aliens, people, wherever they may be located in the universe. The only thing that limits this thing is your own imagination. This thing can dream whatever you dream up, it will create it, and it can get the job done quicker, faster than any power within the known universe. That's why the green power ring is the best in the game and is the best one to choose when going out for missions, whether it be for good or whether you're trying to save a population of people or if you're just trying to provide resources to other civilizations on other planets within the universe.
But that thing's going to run out of power, and you'll need that lantern to charge it. But you know what else can charge the Green Lantern ring? The Blue Lantern ring. And that's the thing there. Like I said, the Blue Lantern ring has the same things. It can conjure anything with your imagination can do. But the problem with the Green Lantern ring is that in order to harness the power, you need to keep your focus on what you're doing 100%. And when that ring eventually runs out of power and there's no lantern nearby, guess who's going to come save the day and help charge you up? It's me with my Blue Lantern ring.
Well, here's something that the Green Lantern ring can also do. It can also translate all languages within the universe. How many people can say they can do that with the power of a Green Lantern ring? Not many. That's why the Green Lantern ring is the best in the game. It's the best you should choose no matter what situation that you are in. Healing power, all that kind of stuff. The green power ring, they can do that. Green power ring can do it just as easily as the blue one can. You know, you got all these colors of the rainbow, but the one that people come back to, the one that the fans come back to, and the people in the Green Lantern Corps always come back to is the green one because it's the one that started it all. And nothing is better than the OG power ring, and that's why green is the #1 choice above all others.
But original doesn't always necessarily mean best. The other good thing about the Blue Lantern ring is that although it's incredibly powerful, it becomes even more powerful when there is another ring present. And that is the key here, because this is a time where we're all separated. It's very dark, it's very lonely. And the Blue Lantern ring has that power to bring people together for the greater good. And that is the key here. It's a symbol of hope. It's a symbol of togetherness. And it also acts as a universal translator. It is the symbol of understanding. That is why it is the best and most important ring to have, especially right now, because it does all the things that we all need, all the things that are good for the greater good. That is why it is the best.
The Green Lantern ring can help not just move the person who's bearing the ring, but anyone who's in the force field that they can protect people from. It can move faster than the speed of light, faster than the speed of hyperspace. Do I hear anyone saying that about the Blue Lantern ring? Not really. And also, people on Oa, people around the known universe, they know that when they see bright green light, they know that it's Green Lantern in town. When they see a blue, yellow, orange, or whatever other color that's in this color rainbow of lantern rings, they're going to be like, who's this person? What is this person trying to do? This doesn't make any sense. I mean, Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, all the other Green Lanterns, John Stewart, Kyle Rayner, all those guys, they know who they are. But when a blue lantern ring shows up, they're thinking, what on the universe is, what the heck is this? This makes no sense whatsoever. That's why green is going to be the one that everyone recognizes, where people are going to be like, I don't know what a blue lantern means. I don't know what a blue lantern ring is. What is that all about?
It's a symbol of hope. The problem with the Green Lantern ring is fine, but compared to the blue ring, its powers are limited. They're limited by the willpower of its user. If you come up against the red power ring, you're done. Power's dissolved, completely dissolved. In order to harness the power of the green ring, you need to have that 100% focus. But the power of the blue ring, it can be strengthened by others. It brings together a team. It brings together a team, a sense of companionship. It also has the power to create whatever it does, to fly through space, to create a force field, a universal translator, all of these things, and all these things made stronger because of hope.
Well, teams are all well and good, but when it comes to the Green Lantern ring, that's when that's when they come to town. You need a leader to get you through this, not just people around you, but you need someone to lead, someone that people can look up to, they can follow. And that's what you can do when you have someone wearing the Green Lantern ring, whether it's Hal Jordan, whether it's Kyle Rayner, whether it's John Stewart.
1 minute.
They will follow those people into the abyss. It doesn't matter. They will follow them to the ends of the universe if they have the Green Lantern ring on. Yeah, blue, all hope, all well is good. Hell, you can have a blue light special in aisle 3 at Kmart. I don't care. But when it comes to green, that is the thing that keeps everyone united. That's what keeps everybody strong. That's what keeps everybody on one focused, united front. Only thing that can stop Green Power Ring is the lack of imagination. Well, there have been millions of there have been tens of people, there have been lots of people who've worn that ring, and they know how to channel it, they know how to use it. Is the thing going to run out of power? Yeah, maybe, but they can snap out of it, they can get right back to it. Whereas a Blue Lantern ring, who knows? That thing may have limitations that you're not even aware of.
Every time you see someone with a Green Lantern ring, there's something that comes up against it. And originally it was the yellow power ring, the power of fear. That was what was able to do it. And then when they finally got rid of that weakness, the red power ring came along. And what happened? It could still dissolve the power 100%. Hope brings people
time.
That's what we need right now.
Whew, all right. Right at the end of the time. Man, this was a good back and forth here. Very interesting. All right, not bad for a couple of rookies. All right, so you're going to close them up with your 60 seconds. All right, since we started with Ryan, we're going to go to Joe to close this one up. So, Joe, your 60 seconds will begin when you start speaking, sir.
The point I've been making throughout this argument is that in these times of darkness, we all need to come together and spread hope. The Blue Lantern ring helps spread that hope, and while still gifting its user with amazing abilities on its own, becomes even more powerful when combined with the others, which I think is an idea we can all get behind. The problem with the Green Lantern ring is that it's limited by the willpower of its user. It does have weaknesses, such as originally the yellow power ring and now the red power ring. I think the problem there is that the Green Lantern ring the Blue Lantern ring has all the same powers as the Green Lantern ring, but more. The universal translator, the power of create force, the power to conjure whatever you want, but it's not as limited in its in what fuels that power. Willpower has to be focused 100%, but hope is something we all get behind. Everybody needs hope. Everybody has that little spark of hope inside them, and that is enough to get you through and power you. That is why it's the best. That is why it's the one that we all want to use, and we all need to use right now.
Time.
All right, using every second of the 60 right there. All right, Ryan, tell us why the green, and your 60 seconds begins when you do.
The Green Power Ring is the thing that started it all. When people think of a hero in the Green Lantern universe, that's what they think of, the Green Power Ring. That is what is going to come first into their mind. This ring has been described as the most powerful weapon in the universe. That's a big plus. You have the willpower, you control that, you get the thing going, you control that ring, you use it to your advantage, you can lead people away from danger, save civilizations, protect your loved ones, do whatever it is that you need to do. Pretty much unlimited power with the green power ring. It can translate all the languages in the known universe. It can do so many things in just one ring. Whereas the blue ring, yeah, it has some abilities of its own, but at the end of the day, when people look up into the sky and they're thinking, in deepest day, blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. They think of green, son. They think of green, green, green. That's what they're going to think of. That's why green powering is the best one, and that is why anyone who finds it should choose to use it for good.
Time.
All right. Whew.
Great job.
Couple mic drops right there at the end. Yes, thank you, Chris, for keeping that time so perfectly. All right, now up to the judges to make their decisions. Okay, we're going to start with our timekeeper, Mr. Diaz. Who gets your point and why?
Oh, this is tough. As a Green Lantern fan myself, both great choices. I kind of had to give my teacher start the thing. I had to give my point to Joe because I think he hit Ryan more on what he said about that. Ryan Permison had a stronger than low parry, and Joe brought a lot more example with his. I think Ryan should have argued again. That little argument right there, I had no argument, so my point go to Joe.
All right, that's one for Joe. So I'm going to go around this way to Mr. JB3. Mr. JB3, what say you?
Yeah, I am going to have to agree with Chris. Joe really hit the nail on this one for me. I mean, talking about the best ring, he listed multiple reasons why, and it all included why, like the recharging, everything. He was basically outdoing the green ring in the whole argument for me. So I had to give my point to Joe.
All right, so our first point of the match goes to Joe. Now, my opinion doesn't really count on this one, but it would have been a clean sweep for Joe. Ryan, you said all the right things about the Green Lantern ring. You said all the right things, but there's one small thing you could have really hit him with. A blue lantern ring cannot be fully powerful without the green, without a Green Lantern ring. So that little bit of fact there, yeah, that little bit of fact on there, you can hit him with that and make him earn it a little bit more. But you did have a good argument. You made me remember, and you're right. Everybody remembers the Green Lantern ring. They don't know about these other ones, but that green one, that's the one that started it all, and that's the one that most people would probably remember first off the top of their head. Okay, we got our first point. Our first point for Joe. All right, which brings us to our second question. Okay, and this comes from the world of Mr. Kevin Smith. We all know the MCU, that universe over there. We all know the Star Wars universe. But Kevin Smith kind of created his own universe with the View Askew universe, if you will, or the View Askewverse, as we like to call it. So there are many characters in the Kevin Smith films, but I want to know which View Askewverse character deserves their own TV series. Their own TV series. Which one of these colorful characters in all of the View Askewverse should get their own TV series? And since we started with Ryan, the DC, we're going to start with Joe on this one. So, Joe, your 90 seconds starts when you do.
I went a little more obscure with this. With my character that I think really deserves a TV series, I picked the head of security from the Mall in Mallrats, LaForce. LaForce is the perfect character to get a spin-off. There is so much can be done with not just the character, but the setting as well. As head of security for the mall, we have the opportunity to present him with a new challenge every week. We have the opportunity to have cameos from the characters that we all know and love. But at the same time, we also get to set it aside. There's so many characters in there, but a lot of these characters have had their stories told, they've had their development, they've had their arcs, but LaForce remains relatively unknown, but is still recognizable enough that you know where he's coming from. Mallrats, Kevin Smith's always said, is one of his favorites. He's been trying to make a sequel for a very, very long time. I think doing it with a character that's lesser known in a TV series gives you that opportunity to really dive into what made that film special, what made the characters special, and also allows you to introduce all those things that you're familiar
Time.
Time. Pushing it just a little too. That's all right. All right. Ryan, we got LaForce, the most fierce security guard of all time. Who we got coming from you? Which Askewverse character are you bringing into the TV universe when you start?
All right, this is a fun question. This is a fun question. When it comes to the Askewverse, which character I think should get their own show, I went with Dante Hicks, played by the incredible Brian O'Halloran from Clerks, baby. Clerks. Why? Because there are so many things you can do with this character. It could be set in the past when the first Clerks takes place in the year of 1994, which was one of the best decades ever in entertainment. You know this, folks. You know this. And there are a lot of other reasons why this would work, and I'm going to go into that during the course of the argument, but for now, I'm going to concede the rest of my time.
All right. So we've got LaForce versus Dante. Very interesting combination right here. All right, 5 minutes, gentlemen. Tell the other one why the other one's better. All right? As soon as somebody starts talking, it's when it begins.
All right. So with yours, Mallrats, Mall Cop, whatever, we've seen that done already. It's called Paul Blart Mall Cop, and we all know how that turned out. They're garbage, right? Well, with Dante Hicks, he works at a convenience store in 1994, the best decade in entertainment. You got all these different characters that can come into the store, whether it be Jay and Silent Bob. You have other people from the View Askewverse that can make cameo appearances. You can make it a sitcom, 22-minute episodes each and every week. You can make it a different kind of situation that Dante is in, whether he's working inside the store during his job or if he has to take care of something out back, whether he's like cleaning his boss's car, whatever, giving a car wash, playing hockey up on the roof with his best friends. Whatever. There's a million things you can do. And plus, Randall can make appearances from the video store that's still in business because, like I said, this is set in the past, baby. 94. You don't get much better than that. He can come in. They can have conversations. They can spitball about different debates and whatnot. Also, Veronica can show up, and we can see how the relationship between Dante and Veronica is going, or even if that relationship is still going, or maybe he moved on and started dating somebody else. We can find out more about those characters. You can have great dynamics with them.
Yeah. But the problem with Dante is he's already a very established character. He's already been the lead of 2 of the movies, Clerks and Clerks 2. We've seen his story up. We've seen his character develop. The thing about that makes the flaws good is that he is sort of the villain of the Mallrats piece. What's important is you don't take away from the character that's already been established, but not a lot has been established. And if you don't think a villain can work as the lead of a series, 14 seasons of It's Always Sunny already did that. You look at successful spin-offs. Look at the success of Star Trek: The Next Generation, Laverne and Shirley, Torchwood, Better Call Saul. They all spun off with characters that were known but not the most prominent. You look at shows like Joey or The Cleveland Show, and these shows didn't work because there's very little development left for these characters to have. But with the fours, you get that. And you have one convenience store. The mall is full of stores, full of different characters that come in. You can have Ben Affleck coming back as Shirley. You can have Brody. You can have Quint coming back. And you can have a season finale where LaForce is put up against the biggest task of them all, Jay and Silent Bob. That is where you have there's so many characters you can bring in, so many different ways that you can go with it. It's perfect for a spin-off.
Well, you can take all that stuff you just said, and you can still do it with Dante and his crew at the convenience store. I mean, honestly, you can have celebrities make cameos, like they're just passing through town. They have to take a stop somewhere, and where do they go? They go to a convenience store. They have the munchies. They got to get a bag of chips, whatever. And they come across Dante, and they have interactions with him. That could be a lot of fun to watch. Like to see Dante interact with people from other film universes or even other films. Like, for instance, what if they were talking about Star Wars in the original Clerks movie? What if, Mark Hamill comes in, or Harrison Ford, or, Billy Lord from, Carrie Fisher's daughter comes in. It's like, hey, we really dug your mother in that movie. Here's why, blah, blah, blah. You can have all those interesting interactions, and you can have big celebrity cameos make appearances. Yes, the convenience store is a lot smaller than a mall, but at the same time, you can still have a whole host of different characters and different personalities and different interactions with different characters. And Dante and Rando are almost at the center of it, being like, wow, we live in some weird times, man. These people are weird. They just come in here for a bag of chips. What's that all about?
Yeah, but I think what you're talking about is more of a Clerks spin-off, less than a Dante spin-off. The problem with spinning off Dante, as I said, he's an established character. We've seen him work. We've seen him work in the convenience store. We've seen the convenience store burn down. We've seen his relationships in the convenience store. And then when he moved to movies, you've seen the development. You've seen him try to get out of Randall's pull of immaturity. We've seen all through Clerks and Clerks 2 and his smaller appearances in the other View Askew universe movies, all these different developments that led him to his final realization at the end of Clerks 2, where he was going to have a baby. And this is the thing. He's had his story arc told.
Well, here's the thing, malls and the security guard, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's fine. But this is set in 94. The way the world is right now, 2020, people don't want to see malls necessarily. They want to go back to simpler times, to happier times. And that's why you can go back in time to 1994. Great year for everybody involved. Great year for Dante. Great year for Randall. Great year for everybody involved in that movie. That was made on a shoestring budget, and it became a huge cult classic over time. And people enjoy those characters so much so, yes, it did get a sequel. Yes, they've appeared in other movies within the Kevin Smith universe. But going back to the 90s is a heck of a lot better than sticking here in 2020, because no one wants to visit 2020 right now. We want to visit simpler and happy times, and that's why you go back to 94. And that's why even the dogs in the background agree with me. You go back to 94 and you celebrate with the cast and crew of Clerks, and Dante being at the heart of it. I mean, we've all been there. We've all worked a job we don't want to work. We've all been there. We've all been in a situation where, oh, man, I wasn't even supposed to come in on this day. I want to go home and sleep and play video games and get drunk or something. We all can relate to that, and we would much rather do that in 94 than we would do it in 2020, because 2020 is hell right now.
But I think if you look at Jay and Silent Bob Ruby, that's not the way Kevin Smith wants to go. You see what he did with Jay in that movie and how he gave him a kid and how he made him grow up. That's the way Kevin Smith is aiming right now.
Time!
Woo! All right. Wow. We got all kinds. All right. This is excellent argument. Excellent. I'm very proud of this question. And I'm very proud of y'all's answers. Here we go. Now, you got 60 seconds to close these up. All right. Since we started with Joe, I'm going to start with Ryan for this closing. 60 seconds when you're ready.
With the way things are going right now, 2020 is a very stressful time for everybody, and they don't want to watch the current stuff that's going on, things that have been going on in 2020. They want to go to a much better place, to a happy place, like another movie would tell us. And the best way to do that is to go back to the 90s and see these characters in the convenience store coming through the doors every day, people from all walks of life coming in. You can have celebrity cameos from some of Hollywood's biggest stars. You can, have so much fun with it. The interactions, the personalities, the jokes, the in-jokes, the movie debates, or the other debates that Dante, Randall, and anyone else who comes into the store and they're like, hey, I'm just here to grab a drink, man. What are you guys talking about? Oh, well, we're talking about XYZ. You want to chime in? Oh, yeah, sure. That is something people can enjoy and have fun with, and there are so many jokes that can be cracked at anyone's expense during the course of this show. Dante is such a funny character. His buddy Randall is just as funny. That is why you go with Dante, you go with that, you set the 90s, and you have fun with it.
Woof. All right. Joe, 60 when you're ready.
What you've described is a show that's a conveyor belt for celebrity cameos. This does not sound anything like it's focused on Dante. Dante's had his character development, and that is why you can't make it about Dante. Even in your own argument, you can't make it about Dante because he's had his story told. With LaFours, we know literally nothing about him except that he's a security guard. There's plenty you can do inside that mall, plenty of cameos that you can have inside there while still making the show about the character and the troubles he faces. He might be mean about it, he might be horrible about it, but that didn't stop It's Always Sunny from having all its successes. I think LaFours is small but prominent enough to make a perfect spin-off. You look at all the other spin-offs, other successful spin-offs, they've always been about lesser-known characters. When spin-offs have tried to focus on a main character from the original movie or series, they don't do very well. LaFours, like I said, we know nothing about him. All we know is he's a security guard and he works at the mall. We know a lot goes on at that mall, and that's what's going to be fun to see. Plenty of shops, plenty of opportunity for cameos. You can bring Brody back, you can bring Quint back. It's going to be, and you have Jay and Silent Bob in the finale.
Time.
Ooh, right on the time, right on the money. All right. Whew. Now, two shows that, quite frankly, I'd want to watch. But which one do I want to watch more? Okay. We're going to start with Mr. the Third. JB3, we're going to start with you. Who gets your point and why?
Mr. the Third would like to just let y'all know that this one, I feel like Joe was just on a lot of defense. It's almost like for me, like a swap from the other round. I'd so much rather see the 1994 version of that with Dante. I mean, now Joe brought up some good points. He got me with the Joey in the like the spinoffs that don't based on main characters. That was a good point, but Ryan just had too much, the nostalgia, the going back in time, the different cameos, like everything. I would much rather see that.
All right, so we got 1 point for Ryan, and thank you, sir. All right, 1 point for Ryan. Then we'll go to me for a point. Both these shows I want to watch. And Joe, you did a very, very good job by bringing up the spinoff villains could easily successfully have their own series. But I will agree with JB3. Ryan's just had more enticing pieces with his show. I think it was more than just a sling of cameos. The way Joe said, I think he had some various reasons why this would be entertaining and could be so different and varied throughout its run. So I'm going to give my point to Ryan as well. And with that, Ryan gets his first official point. Mr. Diaz, your point, can go either way. It doesn't really matter, but your opinion does matter. Who would you have gone with?
I kind of agree with you. I would go with Ryan Bell. It's tough. I like Click and I like Malvat and Rod. Even though my pick would have been Dahmer, but it's like character for Dahmer, but that's still it's such a good choice. And Ryan just pull out more. As much as I love Joe Idea team like Billy Lloyd, Mark Hamill, and a bunch of other Star Wars characters come in. It does. That Ryan 1994 and the other one is coronavirus, the time you're living right now. Yeah, I go with the 1994.
All right. So with that, man, you guys are not making this easy, though. All right, so Ryan gets his official point. So now we're 1-1. So that makes this question all the more important. And this is our question number 3. In the world far, far away, this would be Star Wars. Now, this is something I'm very interested in because we all know which weapon somebody would want from the Star Wars universe. I mean, I'm imagining nobody wants Chewbacca's blaster. They want the lightsaber. But which vehicle would you want to roll in every single day? Which Star Wars vehicle would you choose as your personal everyday vehicle? What's going to bring you the most clout? What are you going to have the most fun? Driving around, flying around, whichever one it might be, walking around. We're going to find out. Since we started with Joe last time, we're going to start with Ryan. So which vehicle do you want from the Star Wars universe? Your 90 seconds begins when you do.
When people think of Star Wars vehicles, what is the first thing that comes to every single person's mind? It's the Millennium Falcon. You've never heard of it? Should I have? It's the ship that made the Kessel Run less than 12 parsecs. She can make 0.5 past light speed. I mean, when people take first glances at her, she may not look like much, but she's got it where it counts, kids. She does. That is why every single person who's ever heard the word Star Wars, and when they think of vehicles, oh yeah, Millennium Falcon is the number one thing that sticks out in people's minds. That is the best ship to choose any day of the week, twice on Sunday. And I will concede the rest of my time.
All right, going with the trusted true Blue Falcon right there. Oh, not Blue Falcon, that's another thing. The Millennium Falcon. Now, Joe, which Star Wars vehicle are you rolling with? Your 90 seconds begins when you do.
Yep. Ask anyone what vehicle from Star Wars they would want to own, and 9 times out of 10 they'll say the Millennium Falcon. But you can't trust people. People voted for Hitler and listened to Coldplay. The question isn't what vehicle you would want to own. It's what vehicle you would want for your everyday vehicle. And that's why I chose the trusted vehicle of the Fett family, Slave One. Slave One is the perfect vehicle for your everyday vehicle. It has everything you need. It's reliable. It has everything you want for an everyday vehicle. And that's the key here. We're talking about an everyday vehicle, not a rust bucket that breaks down every now and again that's got an unreliable hyperdrive. You want something reliable. And I'll go into more about why it's so reliable and why you want it for an everyday vehicle after I concede my time.
All right. So we've got the rematch, if you will, of Slave One versus the Millennium Falcon. But coming from two very different minds rather than George Lucas. This will be interesting. This 5-minute battle I'm looking forward to. All right. Each one of you hit him with their best.
First seen in the year 22 before the Battle of Yavin. It was shown as a fast, stealthy, well-equipped ship that Jango Fett swore by. 25 years later, his son Boba was still using that ship, and it was just as reliable as when his dad piloted it. Weapon systems, those beautiful sounding sonic charges, a well-positioned cockpit that puts the pilot right at the front of the action, not off to the side, and perfect cargo space for you and all your friends, even if they're encased in carbonite.
Yeah, if they're encased in carbonite. First of all, Slave One, the way it lands on a landing platform, it's like sitting flat. You crawl in there. It's almost like you're upside down, and when you lift off, it's weird. It's a weird way to take off. It's a weird way to look at that ship. When people look at that ship, they're like, something's odd about this. I don't know if that's the way a ship's supposed to look or even land on a landing platform. But when they look at the Falcon, they're like, oh yeah, that's a ship I want to travel in. Has it had its bumps in the road? Yeah, every ship in the galaxy has had their bumps in the road. But Millennium Falcon will get you through any tight situation that you're in. She can make 0.5 past light speed. I don't see Slave One making the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs. It can barely make it through anything.
Before the Falcon did.
Oh,
and they left at the same time.
Please. But at the end of the day, people are going to want to go on that Millennium Falcon. They are going to want to fly that thing into battle or to get away from a tight spot. Whether you're in Mos Eisley Spaceport, you'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy, or if you're on Jakku. It doesn't matter. You can be in Coruscant, you can be on Jakku, you can be on Bespin. Doesn't matter. This ship can get you through any situation, and it can definitely hold a lot of people. It's a lot bigger ship than Slave One, and it can definitely carry more people if you're trying to save almost a small town or small village population. It can definitely help get that done, just like it did during the events of The Last Jedi.
Look, the Falcon, although it's been around longer, it was showing its age when it was still younger than Slave One. Unreliable, always breaking down, armed with only, 2 ventral guns and a questionable hyperdrive, to say the least. It's not the vehicle for your everyday needs. Sure, the Falcon's great for a road trip or something, especially with that navigation system, which I admit is superior. But as an everyday vehicle, it will let you down time and time again. The cockpit position, all right, it's unique, but practically every other vehicle in the galaxy puts its pilot in the center of the ship. That way you get the best view. What happens when you need to look left? Oh, sorry, I can't do that. The rest of the ship is blocking my view.
But when it comes to collecting, and when it comes to the fans and what they think of when they think of Star Wars, one of the first things that comes to their mind is Millennium Falcon, because everyone's heard that name a billion times. You'd have to Google what Slave One even means, much less what it looks like. No one's ever heard that. No many people have heard that name. People know what a Millennium Falcon is. They don't even have to go to Google Images or your friendly neighborhood smartphone to look it up. They know what's up. They know the drill. They know they can get the job done in that vehicle, and that is something you can use in your everyday life. Can you look both ways? Yeah, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different with the cockpit being on this side and the rest of it being on this side, but either way, you can still get the job done. It has 2 gunner positions. Has it had its bumps in the road? Yeah, but depending on who the pilot is, you may not have to repair it very much. Yes, Han Solo, Chewbacca, great pilots. They've had trouble. Yes, Rey and Finn, they've had problems, but whoever drives that thing next can be the next best thing and can be the best pilot to the point where you don't even have to repair that thing because their pilot and their expertise is so good, they don't need to worry about fixing it. Whereas in Slave One, that thing is so small, any ship out there can easily destroy it. Whereas a Millennium Falcon, it can outmaneuver most Corellian, it can outrun Corellian starships and any other kind of starship that's in the known galaxy.
Look, sometimes you need a small vehicle. You need to be able to get around. You need to be able to park easily. I live in London. It's a big city. Sometimes you need a parking space. But like I said, you talk about the space. There is ample cargo space in that. Manages to fit Han Solo encased in carbonite in there perfectly. The problem with the Falcon is it might be the most well-known, but it's unreliable. And like you said, Rey and Finn had no problem. Han and Chewie had no problem, but it's an everyday vehicle. You do not have a co-pilot with you on your everyday runs. You need something that you can pilot single-handedly for your runs to the shop, for your commutes to work. This is an everyday vehicle we're talking about here. And every time you see the Falcon, it needs to have a co-pilot or it goes very badly wrong.
If you're going to park it somewhere, most places in the known galaxy have spaceports, and if you're going to park it on the planet Earth, let's just say for sake of argument, you got to park this thing. It's called the roof. You can park that baby on the roof, or you can park it on helipads. It'll fit there easily. You don't have to worry about where it's going to park, whether it be in real life on Earth or it's going to be another part of the known galaxy. And when it comes to toys, do I hear people collecting Slave One religiously? No, they collect tons of different sizes and models of the Millennium Falcon because that is their baby. That is their gold mine. That is their sweetness. That's the icing. That's the cherry on the cake. That is why the Millennium Falcon is the best ship to use every day, and that is why people love it to pieces.
Oh, yeah, there, bud. Get it, guys.
All right. Man, these arguments just keep getting better and better. All right, but now you got to wrap it up here. All right. Okay, since we started with Ryan, we're going to start with Joe with our 60 seconds. Joe, when you're ready, take us out in Slave One.
For an everyday vehicle, you need reliability. You need something that's going to get you from point A to point B without any issues. He's talking about it being the fastest ship. I've already mentioned it got to Bespin before the Falcon did, and it did it in record time. You want something that's not going to be able to break down. Every single movie, there's something wrong with the Falcon that needs repairs. But with Slave One, you've got reliability. You've got something that doesn't require a co-pilot. You've got something that we've never seen to be repaired, despite the fact that it's been around since 22 BBY. I think it's the perfect vehicle. The most reliable, it's got cargo space, got everything you need for all your friends, whether you're traveling alone, whether you're traveling with somebody else, whether you're going on a shopping run, whether you're commuting to work. Everything you want in an everyday vehicle is clearly illustrated by what Slave One can do and what we've seen it do. It's got its defenses, it's got everything about it that you definitely want. It's stealthy, it's well equipped, it was sworn by both its owners that we've seen. The Falcon, on the other hand, although it's been around longer, it started to show its age long before Slave One did, and that is why. It's unreliable. It doesn't have the armaments that it needs.
Time.
The cockpit position is out of place.
Ooh, all right. Whew. All right. Ryan, why is the Falcon, in your closing, the best one? Time begins when you do.
Let me explain something to you. The Millennium Falcon is the fastest ship in the galaxy. It can make 0.5 past light speed. And here's the other thing. This thing can carry your friends, your family, a small village, an entire population of a small village. That can help during very tricky and dicey situations, whereas Slave One can only carry so many people. It's not that big. Sometimes, in the words of a Pontiac dealer, wider is better. Well, guess what, Jack? Bigger is better. That is why you need the Millennium Falcon. It's great for everyday use, and it's great for when you're in a tight spot, you're in a jam, you're fighting another war, you're fighting another battle, you're trying to save your friends, you're trying to save your family, you're trying to save your loved ones, all that kind of jazz. That is why the Millennium Falcon is the best ship to use as your everyday vehicle. People collect Millennium Falcon toys 100 times over than they would collect Slave One toys. Your Slave One, people are going to have to Google what the heck that is. When they hear Star Wars, they think Millennium Falcon. That's why you go with that ship. You go with its resources. That's why you choose it, because it works.
All right. Coming right at the time. Man, this one, wow.
Oh, man.
Two good arguments.
Yes, two great arguments.
Two great arguments. All right, I'm going to start this one. You know, both of these ships are great. You know, recognizable, reliable. You know, I'm good. I mean, hell, I've got both of them sitting right over there. And you both argued for why, the many reasons, not just the one or two reasons, but the many reasons why they were really good, and shot down the other ones as well. And both had good comebacks for those shoot downs. I mean, I'm just going to go with the slightest, only because really of more room in it. And that's going to be Ryan. Because you hit that point a few times, and you countered well with the where you're going to park it. Although I do, Joe, appreciate your parking troubles, because here in Hawaii we got even more parking troubles. Trust me. Yeah, so very interesting. All right, but my point is going to go to Ryan. So, Mr. Diaz, who's your point going to?
It's pretty simple, Ryan. Joe, you had mentioned that scenes fall apart in Millennium Falcon all the time, moments in the film where scenes suddenly fall apart and scenes doesn't work. You could have won this argument, but why hit you everywhere? And much I want to get a point off of Ryan for bringing consumerism into this, he still won a point in the end.
All right, so Ryan got the point, the overall point. That's 2 points now for Ryan. Mr. JB3, or Mr. the Third, if you would. Where would your point gone?
Yeah, what an argument. I mean,
Yeah.
I was on the fence literally the whole time. Like, I couldn't decide. There's one fact that got me, and it was the Slade one and how, excuse me, my throat. It was the Slade one. Joe, you talked about, I'm losing my train of thought a little bit, but you talked about how the Slade one was more versatile. But the biggest thing that got me was the loner aspect of it. You need a co-pilot for the Millennium Falcon, and you can actually take the other for a daily driver. If the question was what's the best, what I'd want to have, obviously the Falcon. I mean, come on, I was geeking out the whole time. But yeah, Joe got mine. It was because of the loner aspect that got me.
Okay. All right. So yours would have gone to Joe. All right. So Joe, your argument was not in vain. Even though Ray handled it pretty well by herself the first time she did it in fourth way, because that's okay. That's all right. That's all right. We won't go there. We won't go exactly. But she was OP. So what are we gonna do?
Despite the Millennium Falcon fall apart a lot in the Empire Strike Back, but they kind of saved it.
That's right,
man.
All right, now, woo! So that brings us to our fourth question. All right, so this is gonna be big for Joe. Because now he's down 2-1. Here we go. We're going to get all four questions. And this one right here, we're going to move way back from far away to more closer, grounded, kind of, in reality, with the Fast and Furious saga. Exactly. There's not a lot of reality going on, especially after number 5. And we're on 27, I think, now. Now, this question... when we're dealing with the Fast saga, I've always found it interesting that this was even considered a geek or nerd category. I'm not sure if that counts, but we're going to make it count because I tasked you fellas with which fantasy universe franchise would you want to see cross over with the Fast and Furious franchise. This is going to be very fascinating here to hear what we're going to go here. So, we've got 90 seconds, our opening. We started with Ryan last time. Now we're going to go to Joe. That is correct? Yes. All right. I get so confused because I'm so interested in both your arguments so much all the time here. You guys are too good at this. Joe, which fantasy universe is going to cross over with the Fast and Furious universe? Your 90 seconds begins when you start.
The Fast franchise has done a lot. It's been all over the world and grown from street racing movies about petty thieves to being a globe-trotting, high-octane, heist-filled action franchise. There's pretty much nowhere they're afraid to go. And most people would think space is the next logical step. But no, there's still more of Earth that needs exploring. That's why the Fast franchise should cross over with the Back to the Future movies. It is the perfect transition. It makes sense. And I can see my time.
All right. Short but sweet. He's going back to the future. Woo. All right. Sorry, I had to throw a little quote in there for you, Ryan.
Real quick. It's the power of love.
Thank you. Can't have it without Huey Lewis, my man. All right. Ryan, which fantasy universe is going to cross over with yours when you begin?
Fast and Furious started out real nice, real simple, first couple of movies, and then it started to evolve more from there after 5, like someone pointed out earlier, and then it went to 6, and then 7. 7 went bizarro crazy. 8 went even worse. I didn't even bother to see it because it looked terrible from the trailers, and I have no interest in seeing Fate of the Furious, nor do I have any interest in seeing Fast 9. But anyway, the point is, which franchise should cross over with this thing, since we've gone blank crazy. I'm trying to keep it family friendly for the audience at home. I'm going to kick it with some Autobots and Decepticons. Let's kick it 80s style. Speaking of Back to the Future, we're going to go with some Transformers. Why? Because there's more to them than meets the eye. And with this Fast and Furious franchise, clearly there's more to them than meets the eye in the first 3 movies. Am I right, folks? Yeah, they go crazy. They go off the wall. So why not hang out with Optimus? Why not have a chill and have a conversation with Megatron? Let's see what happens with that. There's a couple other reasons that we can go bonkers crazy with this, but I will concede the rest of my time.
All right, conceding his last 3 seconds. Excellent. All right. These are excellent choices. You guys have definitely lived up to the hype. I am so excited for these 5 minutes. This will be the most entertaining thing maybe we see in a week. All right, Joe, Ryan, take each other out. 5 minutes.
Picture this, guys.
Okay.
The government recruits a team. They need them. And they... Sorry, I've lost my place. You thought a DeLorean with a flux capacitor was stylish? Wait till you see the Subarus, the Porsches, the Lamborghinis, all rocking Mr. Fusions, right? The team are recruited. They're given the brand new cars, all souped up and modified by none other than Dr. Emmett Brown. That's what they need. That's where this franchise needs to go.
Well, let me stop you right there. It's not going to happen. Why? Who would want to go back in time with the Fast and Furious crew when they've had a ton of bad stuff already happen to them? Dom lost his woman. We lost Brian. We lost all these different types of characters, supporting background characters, whatever. I don't think people want to go back in time to catch a glimpse of a different car in a different era where they know that somewhere down the line, I'm gonna lose my wife, I'm gonna lose my kid, Brian's oh my God, no. But when you're hanging with Transformers, Megatron and his crew, they come down to Earth, right? Because they're the big dudes. They're more advanced than anything on the known universe. They come down, they want to crush the Earth. When you have the Fast and Furious team, they can get missions done on the ground while Optimus and his crew are getting things done in the air with their super jet packs and their big ass laser guns or whatever. Sorry for the language, but you got their big guns, you got their swords and everything else. They can fight in the sky while the Fast and Furious crew can gather their cars, gather their resources, help people on the ground, and help people to safety while the Autobots are doing battle with the Decepticons. If that's not $1 billion franchise or $1 billion idea for a movie, whether it be live action or animated, considering the environment we're currently in, COVID-19, you can do it with that. Whereas in Back to the Future, who wants to go back in time, and why would you want to mess with Back to the Future? That trilogy is beautiful, it's majestic, it's perfect as it is. No one needs Dr. Emmett Brown or Marty McFly coming in trying to help them out with their holographic hats. Your jacket is now dry. Power laces, all right. We don't need that. We need some gun-toting badasses. And what better way to do it than with my boy, Optimus Prime and his crew coming down, considering the fact that the prequel known as Bumblebee killed it and did very well for itself when it comes to critics and audiences' reactions. That is something that people are dying to see. Dom Toretto chilling with Optimus. The bad guys chilling with Megatron and his cronies up there on Megatron's base or whatever on Earth or somewhere else. That is something that can work. Whereas your idea, it's not going to work.
No, the Transformers isn't going to work, and here's why. One of the only enjoyable things, one of the most enjoyable things about the Fast franchise is seeing the high-octane driver and the characters that we've grown to love, driving those cars. If you add Transformers into the mix, then we lose that element. And if you decide you want to keep that element, then you might as well lose the Transformers. Because I'm watching a Transformers movie, I want to see robots fighting. The problem is, even in Bumblebee, we saw it. Haley Steinfeld couldn't be in the car while it was transformed, and that's where it doesn't work. And I know what you're thinking. 88 miles per hour is a little bit slow for the Fast franchise. Well, with these upgrades, the new speed for time travel is now 123 miles per hour. Why? 35 years since Back to the Future? 35 more miles, baby. It's perfect for the franchise, and it allows it to continue infinitesimally. And here's why. We've got Fast and Furious 9 coming, so Fast and Furious 10, we cross over, we travel into the past. The next movie, we go into the future, and the cars get an even bigger upgrade. That's right. Fast and Furious 11, we don't need roads. It's fast, it's high octane, and it's exactly the kind of ridiculousness that will take this franchise to the next level and even add a whole new fan base. You're adding one movie, I'm increasing the franchise infinitesimally.
Well, sometimes less is more. And in this case, if you just get a simple team-up movie between the Transformers characters and the Fast and the Furious characters and make $1 bajillion at the box office, and a great way to cap off the franchise with a crazy crossover that no one ever saw coming, no one ever thought would ever be possible. Yes, they've been trying to clamor for Transformers to cross over with G.I. Joe, but that ain't going to happen for 2 to 3 years, whatever. But when you put Fast and Furious together with Transformers, it could be insanity times 1,000, and it can be so cool to see robots beating the heck out of robots while the people on the ground, the Fast and the Furious team, are helping people to safety, or they're helping defeat Decepticons in their crazy fast-ass cars, because we all know they like to go fast, people. You can go 150, 200 miles an hour, crushing, they can jump out of the car, let the car do the work, crush into a Decepticon and throw him off his balance, throw him off his feet, whatever. That can be a lot of fun to watch. Whereas in Back to the Future, we've been there, we've done that. We don't need to see these characters again. They can be left in the respective trilogy. That's not a crossover we need to see. It's not a crossover we want. And I don't see anyone clamoring for something like that. And people don't really want to see it. That's just not a good idea. Whereas Transformers meets Fast and Furious is crazy, but in a way, it can make sense. It can mold together. It can be a great idea. It can be executed very well if given the right treatment.
Time.
All right. Whew. All right, you guys still aren't disappointing with these arguments. Excellent. Yeah. All right, these closers, these are going to be big because you guys are too good at this arguing. So we started with Joe. So your 60 seconds goes to you, Ryan, first. Your time begins when you do.
The 1980s was a great decade for a lot of reasons. Yes, Back to the Future being one of them. Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. But if you want to put something here and put it in the once the situation with COVID-19 is over, we can get back on our feet and start shooting movies again. You put Transformers in present day with Fast and Furious, because the Fast and Furious people, they don't want to travel back in time to the point where they lose their loved ones and all that. No. You got to move forward, not back. That's what you do with Transformers meets Fast and Furious. You can make that movie in present day. There is no better time to do it. You want to go crazy. You want to throw some stuff at the wall and see what sticks. There is a good way to go about this. There's a creative way to go about it. You have Transformers meets Fast and Furious. The characters on the ground can help with the ground missions. The people with the Transformers, the robots that can help with missions in the sky or outside the Earth's atmosphere, whatever. There's a lot of different things you can do to see the human characters interact with the Transformers. In this way, it would work to see their personalities and their interactions with each other and how many jokes they can crack at each other's expense would be great.
Woo! Time. All right. Whoa. All right. Joe,
Can I
60 seconds.
Here's my extension.
Yes, sir.
Ooh.
All right, so he's dropping the minute.
Yeah.
All right, so Mr. Timekeeper, make it so. And Joe.
2 minutes exactly.
Yep.
Okay.
When you're ready, Joe, begin.
You said no one was clamoring for a Fast and the Furious crossover with Back to the Future. No one was clamoring for the last 6 sequels of Fast and Furious. That's the thing. You're talking about them going back in time and they're going to be affected by their loved ones. You know what Fast and the Furious has always been about? It's always been about family, and that's what they're going to do. They can go back, they can make the changes, they can save people, they can bring people back. You can bring old characters back. That's why it's perfect. Fast and the Furious works as a crossover with Back to the Future for those reasons, for the reasons that you can have many more movies. You can set them in the future. You can set them in the past. You can do lots of different things. Yours is a one-off idea. Yours is a one-off idea from a franchise that has not produced any good movies since the 1980s. Transformers. The other thing, with crossing over with Back to the Future, you can keep the same basic formula that has granted this franchise so much success by just adding one little new element, which is time travel. Transformers has already done a dinosaur movie, but we can do it now with Fast and the Furious. There is so much different potential by crossing it over with Back to the Future. You can set it in the past. You can set it in the future. You can have the cameo from Doc Brown, but it still is a Fast and the Furious movie, which is what this question was about what it should cross over with. By crossing over with the Transformers, you're going to have too many big things because The Rock, Dominic Toretto, Jason Statham, they're all big personalities. They're not going to be wanting to share their screen time with big robots at the same time. But with Dr. Emmett Brown, you've got the technology, that's all you're giving. You're giving Fast and Furious the technology, the time travel technology, the flux capacitor, Mr. Fusion on top of the cars. But they're going back and they're fixing things and they're going back. They're having incredible heights. You don't even have to go back to the families if you don't want. They don't have to experience that. They can go even further back. They can then go into the future. They can soup up their cars even more. You can get them into space because of the technology they've got from the future. By crossing over Back to the Future, you are increasing this franchise's potential infinitesimally, and that is where it sets itself apart from by crossing over the Transformers movie. The Fast franchise has done a lot. It's been all over the world, but it hasn't been back in time, and that's why it's a new element.
Time.
Oof. All right. Right on the time with his minute extension. All right. You're making this too hard. So, Mr. Diaz, I'm going to you first. Who has your point and why?
Man, I didn't think that would be that crazy in my idea for a couple matches ago, but this is the topic. And I got to get my point to Ryan. Joe, you did a really good job, but he hit you like full square attention in the argument, man. You barely fought back. Like, he just hit you right at the nut of it, how Transformers work. In the end, that really mattered, and you came in a little bit too late in your closing argument with defenses. And I kind of agree. Transformers more intriguing as the Back to the Future. Much I love Back to the Future more than Transformers, but the argument alone, Ryan won it for me.
All right. So points to Ryan, Mr. the Third, the J, the B.
To the 3. I'm here.
3.
So when I first heard Back to the Future, I was like, oh my gosh. And then I heard Transformers, and I was like, oh my gosh. So already from the beginning, this was going to be nuts. With my point, sadly, I have to agree with Chris because for the same reasons, I felt like Ryan just went ham. Everything he said about the Transformers was I mean, it made sense. Like that to me is the more viable option. Everything made sense. Now, granted, yes, with Back to the Future, you mentioned Emmett Brown being the scientist. That's a huge pop. You know, there's a lot of things that you could do, bringing them back, saving people. But man, everything seems like it just meshes perfectly with the Transformers and the Fast and the Furious. So I gave my point to Ryan.
All right, so that is 2 points for Ryan, which means he's got a 3rd point, which means and your winner, Mr. Persimmon himself, Mr. Ryan. He's won. All right. Woo! But again, my point doesn't really matter at this point, but I was actually going to go the other way. I was going to go with Joe because he had some really, really intriguing ideas with going back in time, pulling off these heists, taking the cars into the future, souping them up just like the train did. And honestly, I'll be honest, Joe, you had my point as soon as you said Mr. Fusion on top of these cars. I went, oh, God, yes, I want to see that just because. And then I forgot about The Rock being in these films. And as soon as you said The Rock, and then I thought, The Rock meeting Christopher Lloyd as Doc Brown? Oh, who doesn't want to see that? So that would have gone to you. But overall, Ryan is our winner. But this was a fantastic, fantastic match. Super exciting. Let's go with Ryan first. You won, man. Your very first nerd fight, you won. How you feeling?
If I can borrow something from one of our well-known actors, screen legends from a certain franchise that was talked about a little while ago, Great Scott. I mean, I can't. I mean, what is happening? I don't get. Look, let me just say this, Joe. You are a great competitor, and you have great arguments, great skills. Like you got mad skills, man. I mean, for somebody who loves Superman very much, you got a Superman tin poster in the background of your studio, which is 1,000 times better than I can ever do in my somewhat of a studio, if you want to call my man cave my studio. But the point is, Joe, you gave me some good fights. You gave me some good arguments. I want to congratulate you on that. Good work, good sir. The judges, thank you for being here. People putting this together. I haven't done one of these matches in a long time, so to come out of this retirement at Boca Vista and to do this, for those of you who watched a certain sitcom, you may have gotten that reference. Rest in peace, Jerry Stiller. Man. This is great. Some good questions, but I will say the question that knocked me for a loop is, what would you cross over with Fast Saga? I'm like, dude, no, just no. But if we're gonna go crazy, let's go super duper crazy. And both Joe and I did respectively. But no, this was a great match. This was fun. Some good questions, good arguments by Joe and I and the judges. Thank you for being here. You guys are awesome. Nice to meet some of the new guys on the team. Nice to meet you, Chris. Nice to meet you, JB3. That's one of the more unique nicknames I've heard in the studio business. So thank you for bringing that to the table. And I just finished rewatching the Back to the Future trilogy, just like the other day or a day or two before we taped this. So how ironic, right? I mean, but hey, to say and your winner is Ryan, I like the sound of that. That's right. It's going to be Mary.
Nice.
I mean, I could quote that baby all night long, son. But Joe, don't let this shake you, man. Don't let this break you, because you're going to come back here with a vengeance, and you are going to do excellently well in your next match. So, Joe, my hat's off to you. Judges, I mean, without speech, I got nothing. I'm speechless. Back to you at the desk, Alan.
Oh, all right. Joe, you're a champ in another league, and you're a hell of a competitor, hell of a battler. You didn't take this one today, but how you feeling? We're going to see you again in another one of these nerd fights?
Oh, you're always going to see me again. I've only been in this community for just under a year now, and I am having a lot of fun. It's the first time I've lost a debate, and Ryan really pulled it out of the bag. It was some hella arguments there. Funnily enough, the only point I actually got in this match was it was about the lantern rings, and I had to Wikipedia that to find out which one was the most powerful. So there you go. But yeah, I just have to say, no, good judgments all round. You know, the points that people picked up on were the right points, although good luck repairing your Millennium Falcons every morning when you drive while I'm cruising past the Slave One. But never mind, that's what happens. But yeah, that was a really fun fight, and yeah, the Fast and Furious one was just as the Fast and Furious franchise is, dumb fun to argue.
Yeah, I concur fully. Yeah. All right, JB3, what did you think of this whole battle as a whole?
Whew, I thought it was great, man. Like, it was back and forth. You know, I've seen if you have judged a couple of these now, and I know a lot of times it's back and forth, but like, there was back and forth. This was neck and neck. Now, I do have to say this. It could have been possible that I would have voted for Joe for my last point. But there was just something missing from his argument that he did not say. And it was Marty McFly. I mean, I don't know. I really, to be honest with you, I still want to see that.
Hello, anybody home?
Yeah. Post-credit scene, Dom shows up, pulls down the window. Who's my racer? Window comes down. You see the denim jacket, arm out with the cuff. Yeah. But no, seriously, it was wonderful. I love doing these. I appreciate everyone for bringing me on, and two amazing competitors. Good job to both of you. Joe, I'm glad you're going to keep going. Ryan, your name is spelled correctly now for always.
All right, Mr. Diaz, what say you?
This was a fun match. I never thought you guys would outmatch my crazy DCU and Fast and the Furious universe thing to it. You had not seen it, watch my Nerf fight, because that's the most craziest thing. Yeah,
it was pretty exciting.
I mean, yeah, the last question was really tough, and I wanted to call out because Brian not technically dead. He's living his own life right now with his wife and children.
Technically,
right?
Yeah, I wasn't gonna fact check him on that one.
but I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I want to thank both of you esteemed judges for helping me out today, and our competitors. Excellent jobs. And I guarantee we're going to see Joe back again, and we'll see Ryan fighting for sure. I really appreciate everybody being here. Let's go out there, have some fun, read some books, read some comics, watch some movies, watch some TV shows, do everything nerdy you got to do, and keep that knowledge handy, because you never know when you're going to have to fight it out. All right. Aloha, everyone.